Hello and welcome to today's edition of Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness. I'm Les Winston. I'm the national spokesperson for the Endow American Network Foundation, and the purpose of the Endow American Network Foundation is to link your heart with your finances, to make you more aware of how you can change your life by using Section 664 and other sections of the tax code like 664. We call them social charity. They help you build an endowment for yourself, and then when you pass and you no longer need the endowment, you can leave that endowment to a nonprofit of your choice. And we believe this is a way of the future. The purpose of our whole organization is to educate the public about 664. We want that to be a number that everybody is familiar with, just like they are a 401k or a 529 or any of the other numbers from the tax code. Those are where those numbers come from. And you need to know that the Congress, in their infinite wisdom in 1969, they did create sections of the code that made it easier for people to give to charity because they got income in return. Most people don't know that, and that's what we're trying to educate the public about. But charity is more than just money. It's also about other things, and people get into philanthropy, the idea of philanthropy. Actually, we don't get into it. We are born with it. I think everybody has the feeling of kindness to others, but it is not really accentuated until sometimes something happens in your life. My next guest is Heidi Johnson. Heidi Johnson is the creator of the organization that sponsors Chairty Matters, and Heidi joins us now. Good morning, Heidi. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on board. We're very interested in your story about how you came to create an organization.
Well,
What was the impetus in your life?
the impetus in my life was actually that phone call in the middle of the night that changes your life, the phone call that everyone warns you about that you don't want to get.
Mm,
I got that phone call at 35 that my parents and all their best friends, four couples, were in a horrific car accident in Mexico when they were on vacation celebrating 60th birthdays.
oh my.
um like eight of them, four couples, and everybody lost a spouse in an instant. My mother was killed, my dad was in a coma, my parents' best friends were gone, and my life was kind of changed forever. And out of all of that, my dad was in a coma for a month and came out of it, and he's great and he's terrific. 20 years later, he's still fantastic.
Good.
But what came out of that was, for me, in those moments, that month that I sat by my dad's bedside and we had lost my mom and my parents' friends, was all I had in that time. Even though I had everything as far as family and community and support, um, was my faith kind of got me through that really difficult time. And a year later, I was given an opportunity through a friend who was a chaplain at Children's Hospital Los Angeles to start a nonprofit that provides faith and chaplains to all families at CHLA. So in 2003, a year later, myself and a group of friends started a nonprofit called the Spiritual Care Guild. And we provided chaplains of all faiths at CHLA. And 20 years later, we're a national template of pediatric chaplaincy. We changed the culture of a 100-year-old hospital. And that started my whole life on a trajectory for philanthropy and charity. And ever since then, I've been on a mission to find out who the other crazy people are who do this work. And so after starting a nonprofit, running a nonprofit, I started Chairty Matters to go out and find my tribe, to find other nonprofit founders and find out what their story is.
Well, I'm one of those. We started a nonprofit in 2008 called the Advisors and Philanthropy Foundation, and that was originally created to help advisors become more attuned to the sections of the tax code that we talk about, Section 664 and the others like it. And we were giving scholarships to worthy students who could and who wanted to go into the philanthropic planning industry. But we changed that in 2018. We changed the name to, or 2019, we changed the name to the Endow American Network Foundation because we felt it was a bigger project to endow America, making nonprofits more independent, not having to rely on government for grants and not having to rely on fundraising all the time. But it's still a very important exercise with regard to philanthropy in general. That charity matters, as you say.
It
And why does it
does.
matter? Why does charity
You
matter?
know, it charity is love and, as you say, kindness to another human. I mean, that is truly the essence of charity. It isn't about money. It's about caring for your fellow man and the way that we do that. And there's a million ways we do that and serve each other. But at the end of the day, every human on this planet is here to serve. We're all here to figure out our gifts and how we can give them away. And sometimes those gifts are financial resources. Sometimes it's a talent. Sometimes it's time.
Mhm.
But that's what we're here to do. And I just want to be a messenger for that, because I think that your life isn't complete or fulfilled or enriched unless you're giving.
The spiritual side of this is one of the usually the last thing that comes up in conversations, and then when it comes up, everybody goes, "Yeah, that's really why I'm doing everything."
And right, and exactly, and in spiritual care, the nonprofit we started wasn't about religion, right? It wasn't about converting anybody or giving anyone any sort of dogma. What we wanted to do is just to provide families that were in trauma a resource, because the nurses and doctors don't have the time to do that, and it's actually a trained skill. So it was giving someone a resource to listen.
And how do you go about doing that? Just is it
Well,
the
to
people
become a
is the people that
chaplain,
yeah,
to become a chaplain is they call them clinical pastoral educators. It's actually a trained
clinical pastoral
pastoral educators, or
educators. Okay.
CPEs.
Okay.
And what we did when we started spiritual care is Children's Hospital Los Angeles is affiliated with USC, and University of Southern California is a teaching hospital. And like all teaching hospitals, they take residents and students. So we became an accredited program where our nonprofit would hire one chaplain, and then he would take, or she would take, 5 students. And so we built the department very slowly because we were taking care of salaries, and we didn't want to build something quickly and then all of a sudden not be able to make the payroll. And
Right.
so little by little, as we were taking these chaplains, we were also bringing in 5 student interns, and then all of a sudden we were bringing in 10 interns, and then those interns became chaplains, and we built the department. And as we started changing the culture of the hospital, and the chaplains started doing rounds with the medical doctors, and the chaplains were assigned to like the oncology floor, they were part of the culture and the team. The hospital started realizing, wow, our families are happier, our patients are better, people are healing, people have a better relationship with the organization. And so the hospital started, paying attention to the results as well. So it's been a wonderful journey.
How does the chaplain appear in the room? Are they're non-sectarian, or are
No,
they
they're all religions. I mean, we have religions. We have 35 chaplains at CHLA. I couldn't even tell you half the religions. I mean, we have Buddhist, we have Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, Armenian, Jewish, Catholic. Most of our patient population is Catholic because we have a large Hispanic population here in Los Angeles. So at CHLA, we have a large Catholic and Latino population, but we have everything. But in that moment when you are coming in on a helicopter, or you're doing a 911 baptism or a last rites, to be honest, I don't think a family stops and says, are you this, that, or whatever religion? They don't necessarily care. If they are something and they want that, then we now have the position to provide that person for that ritual of what your faith is.
Well, in the service, listen, when they were in Korea, you saw MASH, you knew the influence of the chaplain in MASH, and nobody cared what religion that was. He was the chaplain.
Right. You need an emotional lifeline in those moments to get you through. And it's another human that is trained to listen and to provide you that lifeline that you need. Whatever that is. And it's an incredible gift. It's an incredible gift. And the difference between families that have had an experience with a chaplain and those who have been to the hospital without a chaplain is a night and day experience.
So the special training, how long does it take?
It's actually almost 3 or 4 years to become a chaplain. It's actually quite a process.
Wow.
They have to go to school, they get units, they do rotations at their residency. I mean, it's almost mimics a mini med school program where they're training with the doctors. So it isn't something.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be that? I mean, that's they're involved in the trauma of
Absolutely.
every day. Yeah.
Absolutely. And end of life is even a specialty in chaplaincy, palliative care. It's actually a bigger thing than people think about it. So yeah, so I ran spiritual care for 3 or 4 years, started it. But then I started Chairty Matters and started interviewing other people. And now today I still do Chairty Matters. I still have the podcast and the blog, but I also run a youth leadership organization called Task.
Yeah, and what are you finding that young people are more susceptible now to spiritual thought?
Well,
is there a change, or is it something that is going to take some time?
I'm going to just give my opinion because I don't know if I know the answer,
Mm-hmm.
but I work with thousands of. I work with a Catholic youth leadership organization that I'm the executive director of. And we work with about 3,000 kids a year, training kids on leadership, and part of leadership is service.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, we meet our kids where they are. We don't teach dogma, and they can go to church and get all of that. We teach them. We try to catch them where they are. So if they're doing some sort of like a prayer service, it's Taylor Swift and candles. It's not, it's not Hail Mary. And so I think what we're trying to do is to teach our kids to be moral, ethical leaders, and to just meet them where they are and guide them and give them mentors to show them, the way to be. I think that these kids have a lot of challenges with social media. I think it's really hard to be a kid right now. I think it's harder than ever. I think these kids have a lot of things you and I didn't have growing up.
Let's put a pin through that right now, because Chairty Matters, and we have Chairty is one of our proponents. She's got the wizard ability to change things. Here's a little story about Chairty right now. The scene is black and white on a dark and gloomy day in America as a family of 4 are setting out on a road trip across the states. But there's a big problem. It's strangely raining red negative dollar signs, and they're falling on the car's windshield. The wipers fail to brush them off, and they can't possibly see where they're going or the cliff they are dangerously speeding towards. Out of nowhere, they see a beautiful Corvette race by them. The paint job and the stark red, white, and blue contrast to the whole background, the stars and stripes clearly visible on the vehicle. The Corvette slides to a stop in front of the cliff as our hero Chairty jumps out with an acrobatic move and uses her special DJ powers as musical notes emanate from her voice, clearing up the weather and making the red negative dollar signs stop. She then directs her music to the cliff, the musical notes calling her 3 trustees to action.
Chigaro, Crashes, Pifficus, I need you guys. Let's build some bridges.
The 3 seemingly alien wizards of unknown origin sweep in from the sky and shoot laser beams from their eyes. The beams creating 3 bridges through which the family and any American family can safely drive to make it across the dangerous terrain. Chairty and her friends save the day. The family stopped the car once across one of the bridges because they wanted to know who their heroes were.
Gosh, thank you all so very much. How can we ever repay you? Wait, who are you all anyway?
No need to thank us, folks. My name's Chairty, and these are my friends, Chigaro, Crashes, and Pifficus. We seek no reward except that you learn and tell others about social security.
Social what? Security?
No, social security, like my name. It refers to Route 664, the road to human kindness, and it's a way for you and the rest of the nation to save your future and endow America with financial prosperity.
Wow, tell us more about it!
You see, much like all of you, America is being overwhelmed by debt, and most folks can't seem to see the dangerous cliff we're approaching. With nearly $30 trillion in national debt, Social Security was designed for a few generations in the past, and it's quickly running out. We want more Americans to consider social security, which saves America's economy through the power of philanthropy, the love of humanity.
Social security gives you the power to give to the charity or cause of your choice, endowing them with financial security so they don't have to rely so much on Uncle Sam. That way, the government reduces your taxes, and you get a steady stream of income that has the potential to grow each year.
Many years down the road, at the end of your life, the remainder of the money you accumulated goes to endowing those philanthropies you choose so that your legacy will go on long after for your children and grandchildren.
If enough Americans choose socials and charity, we could ultimately save America from a financial crisis and ensure your kids have a more prosperous future.
Who can we talk to about this?
You're in luck, folks. I represent a council of professional philanthropic advisors who can help you and all Americans create more charitable wealth for yourself and America. You can get in touch with them at socialsecharity.org. socialsecharity.org. You can also watch our weekly webcast called Route 664, The Road to Human Kindness. And tune into Route 664 Radio for some awesome music and engaging discussions. Like us on Facebook at Social Security. And with your help, we can endow America!
And we're back. My guest is Heidi Johnson, founder of Chairty Matters and an organization that believes in spirituality first. The spiritual side of all of us can be brought out. And we were talking a little bit about, the generation that's coming up today. I guess is that Gen Z. It's the largest generation. They are unusual in the sense that they've and I'm paraphrasing what I got from an interview that we did a couple of weeks back, but they are the ones that have experienced the depression, like maybe some of our parents have or grandparents did, and they see the world a little differently than others. And certainly there's a lot going on today in other countries where there is a lot of death and destruction. And I'm just wondering, are you also dealing internationally? Are you looking at that as a potential way to expand the chaplaincy concept?
Well, spiritual care is here in the United States, and we help children's hospitals. And what's happened at Children's Hospital Los Angeles is we've become a template. So other children's hospitals now model the program that we built with chaplains and are doing it at other hospitals across the country. So we're only in the United States for spiritual care. It is, it's not that it's not needed globally, but it's really, and when we started our organization, we have our own 501c3, so we could run at other hospitals. We've just told other hospitals, here's our template, go and do it.
Well, the cow catcher, cows won't walk on a cow catcher because they have the collective subconscious to know that cow catchers are not for them. And I think there is a collective subconscious, and I think that the more spirituality and the more philanthropy we pump into the ether, I think the more of it spreads, and hopefully human kindness will become the way of the world as opposed to what we see today. Yeah, I pray with you as far as that's concerned. We want to facilitate that. That's why we are making it. It's important that people love themselves, and we believe that if you love yourself, and one of the ways that you can love yourself is to make sure that you feel secure about things going in your life. That makes it easier for you to be able to help others. And people who have suffered through trauma, they see things a lot differently, just as you did, by virtue of what happened in your family. That traumatic event can change things, and people do look to support those things. They create foundations around those things, like Tunnel to Towers and the things that evolve from that. What is the thing that you see in the future? What is if you were sitting with me three years from today, what has to have happened in your world that would make you feel that you've been more successful now than you weren't?
Great question. I think the thing I would like to see the most, and you just kind of touched on it, I would like to see a return to kindness and respect and love for fellow man and decency and people just taking time to care about their neighbors. Because at the end of the day, I mean, the grassroots philanthropy that we have in the United States, when you think about who we are as a country and how we started, we were taking care of our neighbors. You know, we were we were raising barns, we were showing up when someone was sick, we were helping one another. And I know in small rural America that still exists, but that used to exist in cities too. And we're not really seeing that. And in 3 years from now, if I could see the kindness that I see in small towns, if I could see that connection to community, if I could see people checking on their neighbor, if I could see people just going a little bit out of their way to do something for somebody else, that would make me incredibly happy. I don't think you have to change the world. You have to move a mountain or start a huge nonprofit or change the culture of a 100-year-old, hospital. I don't think that's how you change the world. I think it's just a small act of kindness and intention every day to be a good person and to help your fellow man in any way you can.
What do you think stands in the way of that now?
Oh, wow. That's a big one. I think a lot of what we're seeing, and I don't really want to be political, but I think the divisiveness that we're seeing in our country that is creating a separation that, you are rich or poor, you are black or white, you are Republican or Democrat, you are this or that. Everyone has to be put into a box. We aren't just a neighbor. Someone is, oh, they're such a MAGA, oh, they're such a Dem, they're such a lib, whatever. That talk is the same talk there was in Nazi Germany in 1941.
Yeah. Well, you and I are doing something a little different because I think media has a lot to do with that.
I agree.
And I think that the media does foster those kinds of feelings. And what's interesting is I consider what we're doing media, and I consider what you're doing media, because that media, this type of media, is the healing media, the spiritual media, the beneficial media, not the tear down, I'm better than you have to worry about somebody coming after you, etc. media. And I think that I think what you're doing is a very important part of that. I know you have a website that's pretty active, yes. And you do podcasts.
Yes. So Chairty Matters, we interview nonprofit founders almost every week. We're launching season 6. I don't know. We've done.
Time flies when you're having fun.
We've done a lot of episodes, and we interview just what I would say everyday heroes. And we've been doing it before there was CNN Heroes Among Us. We've been doing it before there was, People Magazine was focusing on it. We've been doing it for a long time because there are angels among us every single day. We just don't pay attention to them. To your point, the media is showing us the dark underbelly and not showing us the light. And there's a lot of light, but we just have to have people that are looking for it and that are making choices to go toward it and to spread it. And that's really what I want to be a part of. And I want to be a messenger of service. And I want people to see all the good that's happening in the world and to focus on that and have an upward, trajectory of positive energy and not this negative stuff. I just have no patience for it.
I guess it's Heidi Johnson, Chairty Matters, and a very spiritual person, wanting to spread more spirituality around the world in the right way and to create more human kindness. This is Route 664, the road to human kindness, and you're a person, the guide on that route. And we hope that you have great success and that more people will understand what it's all about, to be kind to one another and to be kind to yourself as a result of that. That's really an important thing. Do you think people are healthier when they're spiritually awake and when they're kind to others?
100%. And there's a lot of surveys and a lot of facts and a lot of data that can back that up. That is not just my thought. That is a fact.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today on Route 664, the road to human kindness. Heidi Johnson.
Thank you for having me
again, hopefully soon.
Hey folks, it's Chairty here. 664 equals endowment squared. That means income for you, benefits for all. It's a way to help make the world a better place. Peace through prosperity, prosperity through peace. Join us at socialsocharity.org.
Route 664 Radio. We're playing the music that lifts you up, out of your seat, off your, and out of your head. And we're doing it with positive music. Music that makes you see the world through rose-colored glasses. Try them on.
Good news, got that old made new, got that joy coming through, got me feeling alright. Good news, got that skip in my step, feel that beat in my chest, got that love in my life, I'm talking good news.
And don't forget my good friend Les Winston. He'll tell you all about why you need your 664. Join him and a variety of guests from the wonderful world of philanthropy at the top of the hour.
This kindness, I don't trust it.
And let us be your soundtrack every Sunday as you get your work done. Classical Sundays at 8, Just Jazz at 11 a.m., and then Soulful Sounds at 2. Great way to get the work done on a Sunday afternoon with music from the road to human kindness. Route 664 Radio.
Let's dance! Let's dance!